Welcome and welcome back to another edition on Immigrate with Ammy. Today's video is about Canada. A lot of you have reached out to me via email saying you love Canada, you want to immigrate to Canada with your family, but you don't want to go through the process of applying for jobs. If you're such a person here, I've got you covered in this video. We'll be revealing a program that you can apply for in Canada. This program is open to all nationalities and it does not require applicants to have a job offer. Whether you have a university degree or not, you can use this pathway to move with your entire family to Canada. Keep in mind that if you'll be targeting this program right, ensure you're at least 21 years and above and you have at least 6 months of work experience and other eligibility criteria that we're going to be sharing with you guys in this video. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this juicy information. So hit the like button so that YouTube can keep recommending my videos to others. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button below and ensure that your bell notification is turned on. Please share my videos with your friends and your loved ones and keep watching.
Hello guys, you're welcome to Immigrate with Ammy, and today we'll be talking about an exciting opportunity for Canada immigration. As you know, this is one of our focus on this channel, and we usually like to share a lot of exciting opportunities. And of course, there are different pathways that one can explore if you are considering immigrating to Canada, and you really don't have to focus only on one particular pathway. Okay, if you have the basic requirement for Canada immigration, the best way to approach it is for you to explore several options at the same time. And in this video, we'll be talking about one of the pathways that started this year. And in fact, this pathway has been going on, silently this year. One thing that you might want to know is that Canada immigration has invited people 5 times in this year under this category alone. And I'll be showing you what are the eligibility criteria, how can you position yourself if you're interested in this pathway, and why is it that Canada is actually focusing on this category and why did they start it this year. Again, I will also be sharing some information regarding the potential of this pathway even for years to come. Just to give you some brief benefits why I think this pathway should be something that you consider as one of your choices for Canada immigration. This is a pathway that does not require you to have a job offer. The second thing is that you only need 6 months of work experience for you to pre-qualify for this particular pathway, and that work experience could be gained in any part of the world, so it doesn't have to be a Canadian work experience. Again, another benefit which I've noticed from the application rounds that have been done so far in 2023 is that there are certain categories under this particular pathway that only require a very low score. Okay, so even if your comprehensive ranking score is not that high, you could get an invitation under this pathway. And just to give you an example, there was a particular draw that was done this year under this particular pathway, and they picked people who had a comprehensive ranking score from 354. Now, if you are conversant with Canada immigration, you will agree with me that this score is very low. Okay, so you have people who have higher scores, but then they were able to pick people with lower scores based on certain criteria. So the focus here for Canada immigration under this particular immigration pathway is your professional profile and not your comprehensive ranking score. So they are focusing more on people who have certain skills or who have experience in certain occupations, and they are inviting them even though those people might have a low comprehensive ranking score. Now, the last benefit which I have identified for this pathway is that if you move to Canada under this category or under this pathway, you are going to be working in some sectors that has a very high potential for job opportunities, and it will be fairly easy for you to grow your career after you immigrate to Canada. We are talking about the category-based immigration program which Canada Immigration started this year, and they are actually positioned to continue with this particular pathway in years to come. Now, just to give you some background information, Employment and Social Development Canada, okay, which is like a government agency that is involved in doing Canadian job projections and to understand what will be the labor needs in years to come in Canada. They actually carried out a number of studies on the Canadian economy, and they came up with some projections on labor shortage in Canada. So they actually found out that there are certain categories of occupations that the present labor force in Canada may not be able to sustain in few years to come. So they were able to discover this in 5 different occupations. Okay, I'll be showing you those occupations which were actually concerned in this study. Now, one of them is what they call the STEM occupation, which means science, technology, engineering, and mathematics related occupations. Okay, so they have discovered that this particular occupation or this set of occupations in Canada is not sustainable for the years to come. And for it to remain sustainable, Canada needs to find a way to attract international talent, people who have experience in the STEM sector, so that they can come in as permanent residents to sustain the STEM sector of Canada. Just to give you an idea of some of the numbers that they came up with in the study, they determined that for software engineers and developers, Canada would need 44,300 professionals to come into Canada. For civil engineers, Canada would need nothing less than 26,100. For electrical engineers, Canada would need 12,600. For mathematicians and statisticians, Canada would need nothing less than 4,600 professionals who are required to immigrate to Canada as permanent residents. Now, I only gave you the numbers for just 4 of the categories under the STEM sector. There are also a lot of other categories which may likely face labor shortage in the nearest future, and that is why Canada came up with this immigration pathway to attract professionals regardless of their comprehensive ranking score. So the 5 categories that they actually discovered which may be facing labor shortage in the nearest future in Canada are: 1, healthcare professions; 2nd is the STEM sector, which I already spoke about; the 3rd one are trade occupations; 4th one is transport occupations; and the 5th one is agriculture and agri-food occupations. So what Canada Immigration did as an initiative to actually address this important situation is by coming up with an immigration pathway for these 5 sectors. Okay, so throughout this particular year 2023, Canada has been inviting people in all of these sectors alone. Okay, so they have done like a special category of invitation for people in this sector alone. This video is about showing you the opportunities that are in this category-based immigration system, and to also share with you how you can apply for this immigration pathway and what jobs are being considered under this immigration pathway. So for this video, we'll be focusing on the STEM occupations. We'll do other videos to talk about the healthcare occupations, the trade, the transport, and the agriculture occupations. So for the STEM occupation, who are the people that are eligible? Number 1, you must have accumulated within the past 3 years at least 6 months of full-time continuous work experience. Now, this occupation must be in a single occupation listed in the table below. I'll be showing you the list of occupations they are focusing on under the STEM sector, and the required work experience could be obtained either in Canada or outside of Canada. Let's take a look at the occupations that they are focusing on under the STEM sector for 2023. So the first occupation are architect, and you can see the NOC code there, 21200. Architecture and science managers, business systems specialists, civil engineers, computer and information systems managers, computer engineers except software engineers and designers, computer systems developers and programmers, cybersecurity specialists, data scientists, database analyst and data administrator, electrical and electronics engineers, engineering managers, industrial and manufacturing engineers, information systems specialists, land surveyors, landscape architect, mathematicians, statisticians and actuaries, metallurgical and materials engineers, natural and applied science policy researchers, consultants and program officers, software engineers and designers, urban and land use planners, web designers, web developers and programmers. So these are the 24 occupations that Canada is focusing on under the STEM category, and they have actually done invitation round this year to invite people in these categories. You can also benefit from this rare opportunity even though your NOC code may not be high enough for other programs like the General Federal Express Entry System. You might qualify under this category based if you have sufficient work experience and the professional profile that is required for this. Okay, now the question is, if you want to apply for the category based immigration program, what should you do, or what should be the first thing that you do? You need to get the basic requirement for Canada immigration. And what I mean by that is that if you studied outside of Canada, you would need to do your credential evaluation with one of the authorized organizations within Canada. Okay, so we have, for example, WES. So you would need to complete your credential assessment. So secondly, you would need to complete the required language proficiency test. Okay, so if you're an English speaker, you would need to write the English language proficiency test. And if you're a French speaker, you would need to write the French proficiency test. Now, the good thing is that if you are bilingual, I would highly suggest that you write the language proficiency test for both of the languages, because that could actually give you an edge in your application. Okay, so once you have these two requirements ready, then the next step for you is to open an express entry profile. Okay, so it takes around 30 minutes to actually open an express entry profile, and if you need any form of support in opening an express entry profile, you can reach out to Ammy through a one-on-one consultation, and she will be able to actually guide you in opening an express entry profile. During the opening of the express entry profile, you would need to choose the occupation that you have work experience in, and that is where you need to be really careful. It's good if your work experience or your profession is in the STEM sector. You need to actually choose carefully what your NOC code in your express entry profile will be, because that actually determines if you would have a chance. As you can see here, even though there are hundreds of job titles in the STEM sector, Canada is only focusing on these 24 jobs which I have listed out for you for the STEM occupation category. Okay, so you would need to actually choose one of these 24. I'm not saying that you should choose a job that you are not experienced in. What I'm saying is that if you have a related experience in another occupation and you know that there is one of these 24 that you have some form of experience in, it's better you choose that one which is listed under this category, because that guarantees that you would have a chance if they are doing the immigration invitations. Okay, so this is how to go about it. Now, after you have opened your express entry profile and carefully chosen your NOC code, you do not need to do any other thing. What you just need to do is to position yourself with the right profile, choosing the right code, and then wait for the magic to actually happen from Canada immigration. Okay, so it's as simple as that. So we wanted to share this information with you because this is actually an immigration pathway that has been going on silently in this year 2023, and they have done 5 different rounds of invitation for people, and the truth is that many people are not even aware that this particular program exists in the express entry system. In closing, I'll be sharing with you the top 3 occupations in this category. So even though there are 24 of them, there are actually 3 of them that are most important right here, and people with experience in these 3 occupations have a better chance of getting an invitation to apply. So the first one are software engineers and designers. Now this is different from software developers. So as you can see, they are related or maybe even almost the same thing, but according to Canada immigration, their classification is different. So when you are choosing your NOC code, if you are into software development, make sure you select they knock code for software engineers and designers. The second most important one is information systems specialist. And the third one is computer systems developers and programmers. Okay, so these are the three top occupations under the STEM category that Canada is focusing on for 2023. Okay, so guys, thank you so much for listening. If you need some form of support, or if you want us to review your profile just to give you some form of information or guidance on how you should create your profile, then you can book a one-on-one consultation and we can use that time on that call to achieve that as well. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Have a lovely day.